You say that love is a liberation, but your enemies and critics maintain that some of the practices that the movement is encouraging seem to be inspired more than Mr. Effner of Playboy than by a spiritual leader. What is your reaction to this?
I'm a spiritual playboy. Is there something wrong? I call myself Zorba the Buddha. And that's my whole life effort, to bring Zorba and Buddha closer.
I think obviously we need to procreate to continue the species, right? And I really hate that spiritual leaders can't be sexual. Maybe there's certain religions that you do separate or segregate that from your existence. That's cool. But there's nothing wrong with bridging and merging the two together. I believe the most sacred act on the planet is sex, because that's how life is created. But our culture or cultures or human civilization has really shamed sexuality. And there's a time and place for everything. I'm not saying this should be rampant on every street corner. I think there's good civil codes of conduct, but we need to stop pretending that we're not sexual creatures. And we need to take spirituality from the clouds and bring it down to reality, and we need to take sexuality from the gutter and bring it up to reality, and realize that maybe sex is one of the most sacred acts you can do. Let's continue.
I don't want the dichotomy
Bingo.
of the spiritual and the material. I want the spiritual and the material as one whole.
Bingo.
They are.
Yes.
The division creates an schizophrenic state in humanity.
I mean, really listen to that. When we fragment ourselves to the point where we try to separate these energy systems within us, we're all sexual beings. I mean, most people pretend that they're not because they need to portray a certain image in life, right? Osho is saying that without combining the two, you become more schizophrenic than not. And that not only is that possible, but the state of humanity is more schizophrenic than not. We're trying to pretend we're not certain things instead of realizing that there's a lightness, there's a light and a dark in each of us. And it is our job to take the cauldron of our inner self and keep things enclosed, the flame, the fire enclosed inside the safekeeping. As Jordan Peterson says, a man needs to be absolutely dangerous. He needs to know how forceful and volatile and aggressive he can be. And he should exercise that through athletics, sports, boxing, competition, whatever, and allow that to be released, but then maintain it, control over his own self, his own dominion. But he should know the threat that he is, and then he comes back from that, and he stays soft, calm, tranquil, despite what he knows he can be, which is a beast inside.
And all the religions are criminals in that sense. They have created a split in man. Your body is separate, your soul is separate. You have to fight with the body, you have to...
I mean, look at your own conditioning. Look how you look at sex. I mean, maybe you're uncomfortable with the idea. The only way to procreate life is through sex. So why is it so radicalized to be such a dark or dirty thing? Perhaps it's the most sacred spiritual connection you can have with another person. Perhaps it's sacred, not sin or whatever we've set it to be.
Remain celibate, you have to fast, you have to torture the body. The more you torture, the more spiritual you are. To me, this is simply garbage, just nonsense. There is no need to torture the body. Because the body and the soul are not two things. Existence is one. Body is the visible soul, and the soul is the invisible body. But it is one mystery. Don't divide it and don't make a conflict between them.
Is there anywhere in your life that you're shamed? Shamed because you're fully human, you're a full-fledged human being? This interviewer tried to shame Osho from being wanting to experience his sexual freedom, and how he does that is on his own terms, of course with consenting adults, but that shouldn't make him less spiritual. And this is what we do, is we separate people so much that if they're this, they can't be this. You are a full-fledged human being. We're all light and dark. We all have a criminal, murderer, or whatever inside. And if you go down that rabbit hole, you become a darkened person, and you act and behave and modify based upon what you mentally consume. So it is your job to always allow thought patterns to modify your behavior to try to become the best version of yourself possible. Trying to hurt others, trying to get vengeance. I don't think there's any win when you try to get vengeance. I think the best vengeance is to pay the situation and experience no mind. To not give them the power to have altered or affected you, or the power of your attention. I think that's the best way to win. And I think that's transmutating anger and hatred for love, for calmness, for tranquility. There's so much hate out there. And it's our job to be alchemists to transmute the slings and arrows and negativity that come upon us. And instead of amplifying it by our actions and how it makes us angry, we kill it. We kill it within. We use the cauldron within to alchemize the negativity, the dark forces, and only give what we are truly, which is light. Everything else is illusion.
So when I say spiritual playboy, I'm not just joking.
The Course in Miracles alludes that everything that is not God, not love, is delusion. It's illusion. So that's what I'm referencing. If you've never seen The Course in Miracles, I suggest you check it out. There's some great videos on YouTube about it.
That's my basic standpoint.
What's his basic standpoint?
I'm not just joking. So when I say spiritual playboy,
He means it.
I'm not just joking.
That freedom and ease with your sexuality is incredible. Who actually has that? Who possesses that ease, that they're a sexual creature, and they can readily admit this by being also during his time. Yeah, he was, a radical spiritual figure, but that's because he didn't fit or mold inside one religion, sect, or culture. He was himself. He had his own inner philosophy. And I think every great philosopher, every great religion wants us to tap into having this strong autonomy to have our own compass. We all have an inner voice inside, and some of us follow it more than others, right? But I think if you just stick to the golden rule, you can really find morality very simply. Always just filter how you treat others how you want to be treated. It's the golden rule, the universal golden rule. Treat others how you would like to be treated. If you can filter life through that lens, you win every single time. You don't have to overcomplicate it. That from there You now have a freedom within to be exactly who you are in a world that scrutinizes you for it because we're told we have to fit in these boxes, or if we don't, we're shamed for it, right? Originals, ecstatics, man, they were original souls. They had a dance from within, and that's what consumed them. And they didn't allow the nuances of what other people, public opinion, told them they were. They knew who they were, and they did not modify themselves to fit what was expected of them. What was truer to them was to be free and autonomous and to follow their own inner compass. As you can tell, this guy's not going to lay a hand on anybody. He's only there to guide, help, and mentor. That's beautiful, but he can still be himself, a full-fledged human being.
That's my basic standpoint towards life. What is wrong if Buddha is dancing in a disco?
Oh.
It looks so beautiful. A beautiful girl. And why Buddha be afraid? Is not his meditation strong enough that he will be pulled towards carnal lust? Is he afraid of falling back from his enlightenment? Then he is not enlightened at all. Because there is no way to fall back. Once you attain, you cannot fall back. It is your own inner being where you are going to fall back. Once you know it, you know it. Then whatever you do, that knowledge is always there. Whatever you do, that fragrance follows you. And there is no act which is unspiritual. Even love making is not unspiritual. In fact, if love making is unspiritual, then every other act will be unspiritual.
But, he's making the same point that I'm making, that, maybe love making, as he calls it, is the most sacred act. Because if that's unspiritual and life is literally created through that sacred act, perhaps it's our own dogma that has brainwashed us and warped us to be schizophrenic in our own selves, to pretend, to try to disassociate from things. It's interesting. It's interesting to think about how warped we've become. And he's just someone who has the balls to talk about it as a spiritual leader. That's why I like this guy. I mean, I may not agree with everything that he says. I haven't listened to everything that he says, but I agree with this wholeheartedly.
Love making should be the most spiritual act.
Oh my God!
It is so delicate, so soft. But the religions have created the division and created, on the one hand, saints which are just dry bones, and sinners. If I have to choose,
I'll be a
I
sinner.
don't want to choose.
That's what he's going to say.
If I have to choose, I would rather be with the sinners than with the saints. They stink. Sinners, at least, are colorful people. if all sinners go to hell, then hell must be the most beautiful place in the world. And heaven must be the most ugly. Because all those dead, dry bones, long faces will be sitting there eternally doing nothing.
I think his point here is suggesting that people who do seek a higher spiritual calling dry themselves out from the fullness of life and what it means to be fully alive. I really want to try to grasp that he's saying that colorful really means that people are more alive. They're more vibrant. They're more deeply integrated in the human experience. And so here's the caveat: is we talk about attachment and detachment. Attachment and detachment. You want to enjoy the full playground. It's a video game, right? You could see you want to experience all that you can in the mystery of life. But so many of us are so stiff and rigid because we have these compasses that have been installed in us that don't allow us the freedom to be playful and experience life at its most unique and fundamental levels. So we cut ourselves off from this capability by trying to be something instead of being alive. I think that's his point here.
No entertainment, no dance, no music, not even football match, no Olympics. Saints don't participate in such things. They can't drink, they can't smoke. What they can do?
Everyone has a different compass on the best process for them. I've never drank in my life, and that's fine if he encourages it or doesn't encourage it. I think his point is like, it's okay to be a full-fledged human being and experience different things. And maybe the right and wrong of that path, again, as long as it abides by the golden rule, there should be no shame or shunning of what one person wants to experience. Who am I to tell you what is right for you? That's the whole point here, is that we have installed in us a certain set of belief patterns, and he's suggesting that maybe what you're doing is not really for you, but you're doing it to appease the system rather than appeasing your inner soul, your inner spirit, your inner essence.
Just go on praying and nagging God. They must have killed that poor fellow long before. But in hell, I can see all the beautiful people of the world. Lao Tzu will be there. Chuang Tzu will be there.
Lao Tzu wrote the Tao Te Ching, 81 verses. It's really incredible. You should check it out.
Gautam Buddha will be there because he did not believe in God. He was an atheist. Bertrand Russell will be there. Socrates will be there. Plato and Aristotle and Heraclitus. All great painters, Van Gogh, Picasso, all great thinkers, Jean-Paul Sartre, Jaspers. Hell will be real company. and very colorful. Omar Khayyam will be there. And all kinds of juicy people, the whole Hollywood. All actors, all actresses, all great showmen, all carnivals, circuses. Hell must be from end to end a tremendous rejoicing. But I don't want to choose. I want them to mix. I want only one place where saints can become again alive.
There we go.
Can
Hit alive again. I feel like a lot of us are half alive, cutting ourselves off from the full-fledged human experience. Yeah.
start breathing, can start dancing, can start loving, can become spiritual playboys.
Cool. That was great. Let me know if you guys like this video. I'll leave the link in the description of the original. I believe it's on Osho's YouTube channel. But anyway, thanks for checking me out. If you like my reaction videos, feel free to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. I'm just starting, trying to grow here. Would really mean a lot to me. And if there's any people you want me to do a reaction video on, feel free to leave their name in the comments or direct video link, whatever. And I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and I'll see you on the next one.